Hello, everyone, and welcome to the as usual late Toku Portal podcast.
But also
Kikai
early
sent
somehow.
right. So we're doing this on a late day, but it's an early start time. But this is for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. As always, I am Vashi V, and joining me today is
Right. Welcome to episode 30. For a second, I thought that said 36 and I was confused.
oh yeah, I was about to be confused as shit too.
Alright, so episode 30. What's a persimmon?
Um,
Is it like a citrus
I,
fruit or.
I think it is. I think it's like an orange slash like an orange meets plum.
Like, I'm trying to. Like, I don't know what it is, so I'm just wondering, like, is it sweet? Is it, like, tangy? Like, I don't know.
Da, 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 da. Let's see. What does a persimmon taste like? At its peak, will taste sweet, mild, and rich. Many people have described its flavor as honey-like. Its texture is similar to that of an apricot, and its skin is a bit tougher than an apple. So essentially, it's an apricot.
Okay. So this week it's Persimmon World, which the name of that in Japanese is Kaki. Don't worry about why I'm bringing that up.
Oh, god damn.
So yeah, it's Persimmon World, and his power is some sort of haiku that has to do with eating persimmons and ringing a bell. And I don't know enough context to know what this means, and I didn't bother to look it up this time.
Well, while we continue the podcast, I will look it up.
There's probably a pun in there, if I had to guess. Uh, so our Persimmon World shows up early on in the episode, and our heroes go to chase him down, but they're interrupted by some weirdo robot, Hakaiser, Kikai no power.
Huh. Okay.
What's up?
Da, da, da. It is from a haiku poem of persimmons and bells.
Okay, so that's really just all it is.
Okay, so essentially, for the lack of a better, for the easiest way to translate it is, as I eat a persimmon, the bell starts ringing at Hiroju Temple.
Okay.
Um, I bite into a persimmon, and the bell resounds, Hiroi or Hiroju, or however the hell you pronounce that temple name. That is literally the joke. And now at least the joke makes more sense to me.
Yeah, so I had a discussion with my roommate about how accurate a translation should be versus changing the dialogue to match the Western audience. And I'm of the camp that the dialogue should be accurate. And the consequence of that, sometimes you get situations like this where, like, uh, the translation just doesn't quite land.
Right.
Which
Like, and
is my roommate's argument of no, but like they should translate in a way that it always lands.
I give, especially this show itself, credit for explaining a lot of the stuff for the Western audience.
It's not like it was important either. It's just like, well, I didn't know that there was a poem. That's all.
Right. And a lot of the stuff in context we can kind of figure out when they do their little jokes and puns. For example, we have never seen the ending of Jetman, but now we've seen the end of Jetman.
Which I knew what was happening because I had read about it like
I had
beforehand.
no idea. I had no idea, and as
Like
soon as I
that
watched it, I'm like,
that was one of those times where I'm glad I've looked up Sentai history, and because like again in Gokaiger, Jet Black is dead, and I went, wait, is he really dead? So I looked it up and went, wait, that's how the show ends.
Right. Like for me, it's like we watched that, and then it got told to me that he was dead, but I never like looked up or had anybody explain
You
to me
didn't do the
why he
research
was dead. I
I
just
did.
I just accepted that at least by the end of the show he was dead. Because to be fair, it's not the first time in Sentai history where we've had dead characters by the end of the show.
And so like in when they use the Jetman gear and that scene starts to play out, I immediately realized like, wait, are they actually doing this? Holy shit. Oh, that was great.
It's like, but a lot of their more obscure ones, they tend to explain, like the cocky. Like they go out of their way to explain that, and solely for they cannot be for anybody other than the Western audience.
Like, and I'm glad that they did, because like now I understand what the pun is, and I'm happier for it.
Right.
I'd rather have that than have them change it to like a
To
different pun that works in English.
right. Like this is where like either translator notes help, which I will admit that is the one key thing I miss about TV Nihon, is they would at least do their best to keep things true to form, but if something relied on like Japanese knowledge for something, there would be a translator note, like the eggplant joke in X8. The fact that the word for eggplant is apparently also or part of the word for eggplant is also the word for nurse. Hence that joke in X8.
Right. So, Kaiser, he shows up and he's got a fancy gun that all summons past Sentai members, but rather than in teams, he can choose a theme or gimmick. For example, here he chose a swordsman and summoned a team of yellow sword users.
So I need to back up for a second. EJ Rude's gotten lazy as fuck.
I think the implication is that he was always this lazy and we just didn't know about it.
Oh no 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 no! This is even lazier than he has been shown to be in the past. Because
Go.
at least when he made the Stacy's transformation device, he at least changed the color.
Oh, but this one he just directly ripped out
He
the
directly
gun.
ripped out from like he didn't change nothing. It's literally it has his head
I think he kept it.
Zenkaiger's head on the bottom of it.
I think he kept it that way because it matched Kaiser's design, and Kaiser was the original design for Zenkaiser, and but yeah, no, he didn't even try to like make it look like he didn't copy someone else's homework,
Right. He didn't even try.
which is coming up now when Bakawas is like, oh, so you're Kaiser, huh? Yep, I built him from scratch. He's even stronger than Stacy. And Geek is just like, built him from
Uh-huh.
scratch, did you?
Like, to be fair, I feel Geej has known every step of the way.
Yeah, no, E.G. Rude.
Because I mean Geej had to have known about Ijirude's shit with Stacy, given the fact that he took Stacy to him to be fixed. Like knowing like, yeah, you're gonna fix him. I don't care if you say you can't. You're gonna fix him because I know you can. Because I know how you made him.
E.G. Rude has been stealing ideas from Kaito's parents this entire time, since before the start of the show, and
Like
has
to the
wormed
point of all of their invading gear creation thing.
and has used it to make himself the top scientist in Bakuwa's army.
And he is nothing but a fraud.
Uh, if
That's
he,
gonna be a great fall from grace when that finally
man,
happens.
I wouldn't be surprised if any of Toji Tendo executed him as a traitor for it. Like, you've been lying to us this whole time. Now that they're gone. The parents are gone. Kaido took them back. You're useless to us. Hey, you know what monster we're
Ah,
gonna send out this week? You. How about you go defeat the Zenkaigers?
oh, that would be the perfect end for that. Come up, it's all at once.
So in desperation, Sechan has pulled up Kaito's parents' old files, and he dug deep and found that if you string some of them together, you find the blueprints for Hakaiser.
So I want to talk about Kaiser for a second because I swear to God, I wish this character had a human form
He so
instead of being a Kikanoid because he's literally a robot version of Kaito.
he's like
Like that
so
same level of energy and hyperness that
yeah, he's both laid back and energetic, and like he's got his go-getter attitude, and like at one point he just genuinely laughs at something Kaito says.
right, like he literally made a robot version of Kaito.
And now
Like
that
and my further proof of this is with absolutely never watching them transform. When asked who he was, he literally did the Zenkaiger thing of the roll call.
right, Kikai no power, Hakaiser or whatever pose he did, I don't remember.
Right, like, but he with no prompting, no knowledge that of what they were doing,
Yeah,
unless like
so
Bakulas has like game tape for him.
like his blueprints were the like beta design for Zenkaiser. So this puts the team into context of like why they become the mechs. They were
Because they
going
were
to
literally originally designed to.
yeah, they were going to be the plan seems to have been to create an artificial Sentai team. And it just so happens that the Kikai Noids are able to fill in that position instead.
Right, which would explain the initial. Well, I guess would also kind of explain part of why that one particular gear works on Kaito now,
Oh
with the
right,
whole
Kaiju
turning him
gear.
giant, the Kaiju gear, like why that would affect him because what's her name would have reverse engineered it, Flint,
Flint.
and would have been able to find a way to reverse that to work with humans instead of Kikanoids. Also, on a side note, after the podcast, I have something to tell you about that I saw.
Okay. So so everyone is really thirsty and they no matter how much they drink they can't get enough. And they're wondering like, "Wait, why would Persimmon World be dehydrating people? Why would he have that power?" Well, it turns out as he removes part of his face that doesn't actually match, he's dried Persimmon World. He's drying people out.
Uh,
Anyone who hears his bell, including the Zenkaigers.
like, if he would not have revealed himself like that, could you imagine how long he could have gotten away with this before they figured it out?
Not very long because Flynn comes in with a table of cups as she and her brother start filling up with water for everyone to be able to like come in, like drink some water and then go fight, and drink some water and tag out and fight.
Like, in terms of like just being useful in a manner, I like that Flint is useful.
This is amazing. Like she's already contributed a couple of times where like she made power-ups for both Zox and Kaito. But here it's like, no, this is just a normal thing that anyone could do and she is here doing it.
Right, like it works so well. I like when they give the secondary characters stuff to do
And
rather
then
than just having them being the cheer squad.
and like this is a normal thing anyone could do, but they don't have anyone else to do this. Like Yachan is also affected by like the bell, so she'd be drinking everything. So like having Flint, someone who doesn't usually participate in the fights, not be affected by that works. Her role in not getting involved made her useful in this moment. Flint is also just a fun character.
Oh, just wait. That's a comment for after the podcast.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? Um, so yeah, we get the big fight, and then Hakaiser shows up and does what was it, blue martial artist, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Or no, I thought it was like blue science.
Oh, right. It was blue science first, and then there was a martial arts team as well. I don't remember what color it was. Maybe that was
See if I can
earlier in the
find that
episode
again.
with the yellow ones. I don't know. Those yellow swordsmen and then martial artists somewhere. Oh wait, it was green martial artists at one point because I remember seeing Juo Elephant.
Uh, doo, doo, doo. Yeah, that was explosive science power, sword fighting power, and I forget what the other one was. Because
Oh,
as of right now, there are 11 that are on this, and it's secret power of justice, roaring Jurassic power, barking beast, mysterious miracle, booming machine, extreme fighting, which I'm assuming would be the other one. Um, explosive science, sword fighting, endless galaxy, and dispatch patrol, and then burning Super Sentai power.
Dispatch Patrol. So that's Deca Ranger, Go Go 5, Go Busters
Lightspeed
maybe.
rescue.
Yeah, that's Go Go 5.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that. Um, Time Force would work.
Yeah, probably. Because they were cops from the future, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, uh, so yeah, Kaido decides to solo Hakaiser to distract him so that the others can try to take out Dried Persimmon World, and he manages to steal the gun from him. And so this time they swap places. Everyone else distracts Hakaiser so that Kaido can use his new toy. Yeah, just spin the gear as much as possible and fucking gets knocked 10 feet back onto his ass.
I like when they do this because they did this in Juoger too with the will power up.
Right, like, nah, man. It's like
Like
firing a
because
shotgun for the first time. Like, nah, that's gonna kick.
like it gives the excuse for the team holding the way they the standard Sentai bazooka pose.
Right.
Like I
Like,
like when it justifies that the need for that.
everyone just acts as a shock absorber.
Right.
So they take out Dried Persimmon World. Kaiser is ready to take his gun back, though, but he's low on battery, so he has to retreat.
Like rooms. Wait, he runs on
I didn't
batteries?
know his battery could be rechargeable. Because, like, they're artificial, they're mechanical life forms. They eat food like anyone else. Like, they don't have batteries in that sense.
Right. Like he's not used to it them literally being a robot.
But yeah, no, he's not a Kikai node. He's actually just a fucking robot.
Ugh.
And then during the mech fight, when everyone's transforming, they start saying haikus.
Yeah, because of course.
Gowan gets his out, and Jordan's like, "Man, you've been holding on to that, haven't you?" And then Majin says hers, and it's like, "All right, Vroom, your turn." Vroom's like, "Wait, why I wasn't ready for this?"
Uh, it's the little dumb jokes in this show
I
that
I
are
just
amazing.
love their little conversations as they combine together. Like,
Like, right, because like we typically don't get like the banter. Like Power Rangers does it, or at least used to, but it was always like the same comments because recycled footage and all that. So they recycled the audio too.
and so
The amount of times I got tired of hearing nice stereo.
remember what I said before. Persimmon means cocky, and so the giant monster uses his cocky attack, oysters. Uh, Another word that is cocky.
Oh, what was the second one? Was it like
Some kind of rocket, and then you had like flower pots and fire.
yeah.
Like words that like just have cocky in them. Like his puns are
Um
his attacks are all just puns.
it's like it in it's a lot of it's either pun or synonym. You know,
And Vroom's actually curious. Like I wonder how far he can keep this going.
not the time room. Like this show is an absolute delight when it mainly because I feel like it doesn't take itself seriously while taking itself seriously. Like it hits all the notes that Sentai needs to hit to be legitimate Sentai, both with story and the action is like, and then but then you get into the really dumb shit where it's 100% poking at itself, and it's such a delight.
Like for a good mech fight, the monster should feel like it's actually holding its own in the fight, which isn't what happens here. Like he throws out a few pun-based attacks which catch the heroes off guard, but then
And then they get wrecked.
they just wail on him and kill him. With that being said, though, like it was still amusing to watch.
Right, like, and they've done that a decent amount of times, like, but they have the moments where they do the true Sentai mech fight. Um, Typically it was against Battle Caesar, and then like the one or two annoying monsters that were difficult, like the one that turned everything into an evil living creature. So they were fighting the entire city on top of it.
So back at the lab, Ichiro is mad that they already lost the gun, but at least Kaiser came back unharmed. Now, what else can I pull from this brain? My question is, can't you just make a new gun?
I mean, you made
Or,
it once.
or like, do you have limited resources here? Like, what are the rules?
Right, like, and that's the other thing. Like, this show doesn't, and to be fair, a lot of Sentais don't either. It's like they don't set like the rules on limitations on what the bad guys can and cannot do.
I'm just gonna
Like,
assume that, like, that gun required a special part that he can't replicate.
right, or it's because the he had one more, but it's inside Hakaiser.
Right.
Like, it's not a bad setup, but now with Kaiser involved too, is like I'm curious of whether or not he'll switch or if he'll stay gung ho, but just like an evil Kaito.
Oh. I saw Jewel Elephant in the preview, the next episode preview. That's what I was thinking of. It's when Kaito uses it himself, and it's not all
Ah,
one. It's not all one color too. He summons green, red, yellow, and blue,
okay,
and
that's not bad.
they're all animal martial artists.
But like, it's not a bad setup. I'm and I will give the preview credit for at least answering a question I had about that gaudy ass thing we're gonna get. The the gun is the center.
Yeah, like at one point, like you see Kaito holding the gun from a certain angle. That's like, oh, that's clearly the mech. It
Right, because it's the top of it has the legs,
right,
or
like
what?
you can see like yeah, you can see like the base body with the leg split. Like you can see that it's clearly the mech.
Right, and then the backside of the underside of it has Zenkaiser's head.
So yeah, final mech next week. Get hype. It took 30 episodes, but we're getting a traditional Sentai mech.
But yeah, finally a traditional Sentai mech,
Finally, something
but
traditional about this Sentai.
but still not a final mech.
Really?
Well, in theory, it can't be. I mean, I understand that Kira Major kind of switched the ball up on that, but the final mech has almost always included the sixth mech, or the sixth Ranger's mech.
Yeah, they have done that. That is like a normal thing to do, but I'm not sure we're gonna get that this time.
Right. There's no guarantee of it. And like I feel Kira Major fully reset the bar on whether or not we get it or not. Like to it being back to being up in the air because Kira Major's worked amazingly the way it was. But if we do it, maybe just like a one or two time thing, or like a final episode, last ditch against Bakawas. But I was like, I give them credit for introducing a new recurring villain. Because as much as as I like Stacy, it's clear that storyline's reaching its end point. And like this could easily be the final push of, well, you fuckers replaced me. So kiss my ass, I don't need y'all. I got these guys.
Well, I assume that Stacy's upsetness was like that Ichiro moved on to making something stronger instead of making him stronger, because he's still mad at his dad.
Right. And then, his dad's obviously going, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, Mr. 900 and some odd kids is, petty like that.
All right.
No, this show is phenomenal. I love it.
Anything else before we wrap up this podcast?
No, that's about it. Because the thing I want to talk to you about after the podcast should be here shortly. So.
Okay. So thanks for joining us tonight, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Stay hydrated.
Yeah, drink water. Drink water.
Drink water. Don't eat persimmons. Says the man who only drinks Coke. Well, Coke and G Fuel.
Like, you drink water, Vashi.